Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
I assume Tom.
The first time I saw this woman perform was at the Brea Improv with Ahmed. And then on top of that, come to find out that she was released by WWE for working stiff by throwing a shoot punch, not a worked one. A two-time world kickboxing champion, a Taekwondo champion, and on top of that, she got her law degree at 20 years old. The rest of America, we should be ashamed. This immigrant herself, Anya Zova, how are you today?
Thank you, Robert. I'm blushing. You made me blush in less than 1 minute.
Well, that's good because you've done so much. I do have to ask this to start it off. My parents are immigrants. You're an immigrant. You got your law degree at 20 years old. How do you tell your father after you finish law school, I'm going to go to America and tell jokes?
Well, at that point, I didn't know that I'm going to tell jokes. At that moment, I was still pursuing kickboxing. So he approved of it. And I switched to comedy later on in my career. But he approved my move. He knew that eventually I wanted to move to the States when I was like 16, but he said, no, you have to graduate the university first, and then you can do whatever you want. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. I got my diploma. I'm out.
He said, well, it's safer than her getting kicked in the head all day long. So, might as well let her tell jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you go from kickboxing, you're a two-time world champion in kickboxing. All of a sudden, WWE comes calling at some point. They see that you're 6'1", you're Russian, you fit this model ideal of what they like in their wrestlers. Their divas were very short, but you're 6'1", and here you come in, and they're like, all right, this is the one for us. Then you knock somebody out basically in training, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go stick her with the men.
It's true, actually. Well, it happened twice. Once a coach actually asked me to punch her, and her name is Sarah. She's still, I think, the head of the Divas division. But she was a tough woman, and she asked me, no, you punch people. Like, are you sure you wanted to punch her for real? So yeah, I want to get punched. I'm like, okay, whatever. And second time, it was another wrestler, a guy, and it was a pure accident. We were wrestling. Because most of the divas, they had at least some kind of wrestling experience. Like Charlotte, she came from the wrestling family. Sasha Banks, Mercedes, she was wrestling since she was like 13. So I felt like I'm always behind them. So I always ask for extra time on ring. And one time I did punch the guy by accident, but it happens. It's an instinct.
Well, I heard Bill DeMont wasn't very popular backstage. So, if it was Bill, I think a lot of people would appreciate it. No, don't get mad at me, Bill. That's just the rumors that I've heard.
But I have to I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of rumors about Bill, but I actually felt he was good to me. Like I never had, like the people that love me the most and I love the most is Dusty Rhodes. I loved him. This guy is incredible. I mean, most of the time, very inappropriate with his language, but as a professional and as a support system, he was extremely supportive of everybody. And Bill, yeah, I mean, there are rumors about him, but he was very nice to me all the time. He called me a Russian bear. You're like, my Russian bear, get in the ring.
Yeah. Was your father a kickboxer at all? Sambo, anything athletic in that regard? Ice hockey?
He did boxing and powerlifting. And my grandfather, that I unfortunately only met him once, he was a professional boxer. He was actually my grandfather. He achieved I still have like his boxing gloves as a gift from him,
So hands are genetic in the family.
I guess so.
So you go from law school to kickboxing to coming to the United States as part of your vision for your future. Professional wrestling comes in at some point, and now stand-up comedy. When you go through these different stages, I mean, you've lived 5 lifetimes in 10 years at this point.
That's how it feels, exactly.
What first prompted you to get on stage as a comedian?
Well, I've been acting. Well, since I got released from WWE, I was very depressed. And I thought about it. I'm like, what was the most fun for me in wrestling? And it was acting. Like once a week, we had promo days with Dusty, and Dusty Rhodes was an like acting promo coach. And for me, every day, every Wednesday was like a day I was looking forward to. And it's basically what was promo day, it's like for 1 minute, you stand in front of the spotlight, in front of the camera, and all the wrestlers are behind the camera and all the coaches are there. And in 1 minute, you can say wherever you want to say. It's a promo. So you have to stand your character. You have to challenge somebody or respond to somebody's challenge or just do whatever you want. And I got my laughs from those promo. Like, I remember I was like, wow, that feels so good when you make people laugh. And once I got released, I got injured, I pursued acting. And it was fun, but then I felt like something else is missing. Yes, I do love being on camera. I'm very comfortable in front of camera, but I did had a fear of mic. For some reason, the mic was scaring me. Like, I feel like you have so much power, but at the same time, you have so much pressure once you have a mic in your hand. And I decided to challenge myself. And I did my first open mic, and I was like, wow, this is such a high. And I could not stop now.
Well, you were originally in Miami. I don't know if you're currently located in Los Angeles now or you're still on the East Coast.
I'm in Los Angeles now.
So again, so you move from Russia to the United States, you end up in Miami, and now you're in Los Angeles. You know, what was the transition, not only coming to the US, but ending up in Miami, the biggest party city in the entire country, to now Los Angeles, the nothing impresses me in this world city?
Very smart comments. Miami, it was, I would say, an accident. Well, nothing is an accident, but at that moment felt like an accident. I was in Miami for 1 month in an English school, and I met guys who are professional boxers. They had a management team here, and they were Russians, and we became family, like not just friends, family. And it's like, hey, Anya, you can get your green cards through professional sports, through kickboxing. And they kind of planted the seed in my head. And then I went back to Russia to graduate the school for 1 more year. And I was thinking about it, but because I already had them in Miami, like the family, I would say, that's why when I was thinking about where would I go, I'm like, well, I already have my friends in Miami. So I just made a decision to go. I never partied. I mean, maybe for a couple of months, but then you get over it. I'm like, okay, I've done it. And Los Angeles, I moved here just for stand-up and acting. At some point, I felt Miami scene became too small for me, and I felt too comfortable. And once you feel comfortable, it's always a sign that you have to do something else and move on and push yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And that's what I did.
So what was the catalyst to get you to the open mic? And then how did you eventually hook up with Ahmed and the crew that he's now running with and performing with him?
I love Ahmed. He's also like a family now. Like I'm so blessed, and I feel very grateful for people in my life. So I met Ahmed, when was it? During the pandemic. He came to Florida with another crew he had at that moment, and they did like a tour around the Florida. And I followed him on Instagram, and I think I liked his post, and we started talking. He's like, hey, I'm in Florida, come by to our shows. I'm like, okay. I thought about the show, so I came there. We spoke briefly, and then I moved to LA. And I messaged him, hey, I'm in LA now. Can you give me a spot? And he gave me one spot. And I remember the first time he gave me a spot on his show, he didn't expect me to be funny. So, I mean, people in life, I'm just a normal person. There are some people that have this charisma, they're always funny. In life, I'm very reserved myself. So I guess he did not expect me to be funny. And then he comes to me, he's like, oh, you're actually funny. Do you want to do another show this Thursday? I'm like, of course I want to do another show. And that's how we became friends. And then he went on a tour in Florida a few months ago in January. And I was there, so I was on the road with them. Yeah, so it's another family that I have now.
Good. And then there's a Russian community here. And then when you go to San Francisco, there's another Russian community over there. So you can't escape the Russians.
We're everywhere.
Yeah. If you go to Alaska, you're all there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and those are real Russians.
Yeah, they're what was it? I think they're still the White Russians. Like they left when the Tsar left, but they still have that Tsarist mentality.
They do, and they even speak like old Russian. This the words and vocabulary they use is like from back to the 16th, 17th centuries. So it's very interesting. It's very unique.
That's the same in Mexico with their Spanish, and then the French in Quebec, they still use words that are now considered archaic or ancient by modern standards in the mother country.
I think it's fascinating how people keep the mentality and keep the language, keep the traditions.
Yeah. You had asked on Instagram if anyone had any like funny Russian stories or Eastern European stories, and the only one that came to mind for me was I went to a Russian festival in San Francisco.
Interesting.
And my friend Tolik was sitting there. He's like, "Oh, I want to talk to her, but she's white." I said, "You're white too." He's like, "No, no, no, no. She's." And I didn't understand what he meant. He said, "I'm red. She's white." And I was like, "Wait a minute. We're actually talking about red Russian, white Russian, like politics, and like the Tsar's been gone for over 100 years. What are you like talking about?" And he said, "No, we still." And then I found out the two Russian Orthodox churches that we had in San Francisco, Saint Vladimir was red, and then Holy Virgin was white, and they won't go to church together. And I was really confused by that. So I said, "Okay, well." But it was funny because all the Russians were outside, the Reds were on one side, the Whites were on the other side, all in tracksuits, just chain smoking, looking at each other.
I honestly, I don't know why. I mean, I think it's just so stupid to be divided by a little difference in Bible or wherever the difference is.
Nothing was different though. It's the same patriarch. It's the same church. It's the same, but it was divided by politics. One was czarist, one was survived communism, and they didn't get along with each other.
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the czar's coming back at this point. So.
Oh, don't even start.
That's off the record. That's off the record.
Yeah.
We want your parents to be happy and safe in Russia, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Everything's
Yeah, we have to keep it. Well, here we have freedom of speech, not over there.
But if one person will see it and then they send it to somebody else and it's like, Anya said, and that's it.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. It's exactly how it is.
Yeah. With your stand-up comedy, you made one joke, and I'm not going to butcher it, but in reference to you being tall and in Los Angeles, because of that, you're automatically assumed as being transgender.
Mm-hmm.
Has that something that's actually happened to you as an assumption? Or is it just because, it's just a funny throwaway line? Because the way you deliver it, it's just this very flippant line that actually made the entire audience laugh.
Thank you. Yes, that's... Well, first of all, in Los Angeles, there are a lot of trans people. So living in Miami or New York, I've never had that experiences. But here, I look at people, I'm like, oh, the trans people, I'm like, oh, they're my size. I suddenly able to find jeans that fit me for the length. I'm like, there are stores on Melrose Avenue where all the jeans are my size. I'm like, this is incredible. And then I look at the store, it's a trans store. I'm like, oh, it never happens that somebody would confuse me. But what happens all the time is that men are intimidated by me, by my height, by my stature. And I think is just funny.
Oh, I dated a Polish girl that was 6'2". Wow. And I had bought shoes. And then I left the room, and from the other room, I started hearing cursing. So I thought something happened. Turns out she put my shoes on, and she's standing there, and she looked at me. She said, "Not one word." And I realized that they fit, and and that was it. I said, "Okay, I'm not going to say anything," because I'm 6'3", she was 6'2", and I said, "That's perfect. No one ever has to adjust the seat in the car."
Yeah, and you can wear the same shoes.
Apparently, at that point, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I don't think women are too excited to wear a size 13 men's, but
Yeah, it's I feel for her. I mean, I wear a size 10. Well, in America, actually, it's weird. Sometimes 9.5. European size is 10, 10.5. But yeah, it's hard to find right shoes, even if it's size 10.
But you found the right stores in West Hollywood that you're going to get the right size shoes now.
Yes, I have even high heels, my size.
See, there you go.
Everything.
That's why the short men get intimidated. You're 6'1", and then you put on high heels, you're 6'5", 6'6".
Well, I don't. I do put if I have a very guy next to me and he really wants it, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it for you. But I like to be comfortable. Flats and sneakers are good for me.
Fair enough. Okay, so you're 6'1", you're a professional kickboxer, you're a professional wrestler, you're a lawyer on top of it, and you're an Amazon. With everything that goes along with this, and a stand-up comedian, more importantly, which of your careers are more people intimidated by? The fact that you could beat them up, or the fact that they could end up being in your act?
I think, first of all, it's like being beaten up. Sometimes people just assume that I'm aggressive, which is I'm not. Kickboxing, the one thing it teaches you is patience. You lose. If you show your emotions or allows anger to take over on ring, you lose. So the martial arts that teach you patience and calmness. And also, I guess men, sometimes they think that being funny is a man thing in relationships. The guy is the one who wants to be funny. And I feel like when they see a girl being fun, it's like, oh, she's going to take my spot. But in relationship, I don't want to be the funny one. I'm okay if the guy's the funny one in a relationship. Just give me my space on stage, you know?
But is he scared he's going to end up in the act on stage?
I think deep inside they might be, yeah. Deep inside. But some of them want to be. Sometimes I've been on a date and the guy like, can you put me in your act? I'm like, well, you have to do something very, very stupid to end up in my act, you know? So far, it's just boring.
Your act is not boring. Your act is really funny, you know, and your life is not boring. Like you sit there and you don't know what to talk. Like, oh, you know, I went on vacation here. Oh yeah, I had a fight there, and that's where I won the world title. The story is not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's a different story all the time.
Yeah, when something like that, you know, I don't know if it's like this in Russia, but you know, for some reason we have this one-upsmanship with men here in the United States. We always try to tell better stories than the other. With your life experience being better than most people's made-up stories, you know, how does that measure up when having regular conversation?
Oh, that's a good question. I never think about it the way you do. I guess I just get the conversation flow. And like you said, like all my past achievements, they seem for me so past that I don't even bring them up unless somebody asks me, because it does feel like a past life. When I think about kickboxing in the law school, I'm like, have I done it? It feels so far and so unreal. So I don't bring it up unless somebody asks me to. And yeah, I'll let the conversation flow.
Would you ever want to get back in the ring?
No. It's I have so much respect for people who do it, but it takes so much concentration, so much hard work. And I'm like, wow, no, I don't want to. It's just too much. It's hard. It's very hard.
And then cutting weight and then everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been in the heavy division, so my coach was always against me losing weight. One time, because I wanted to, well, I was modeling, and the bigger, huge agency in Moscow, they offer me a contract on the terms that I have to lose weight. So I remember I did tell him, and he was Muslim. My coach was Muslim, still Muslim. So I was always working out in a very baggy clothes. He never allowed me to wear anything like leggings. So it has to be everything covered up. I was even wearing a bandana, just out of respect. I was the only girl that he ever trained. And so he didn't notice that I lost weight. And we went to the nationals, to the biggest championship in Russia. And he put me on the weight, on the scale. And I'm like 10 kilos less. It's what, like 18 pounds less than I used to be. And he cursed at me in front of everybody. He's like, what did you do? So they put me in a lower weight division, but I had no energy. Like I was dizzy on the ring. I couldn't function. I lost the first fight. I didn't make it to the finals. So and after that, he said, listen, if you don't win gate, you're not allowed it in the gym. So then I had to make a decision. I was like 16. So either I go with modeling career or I go back to kickboxing, and I choose kickboxing. And I, like in 6 months, I gained my weight back, and he took me back.
What do you do? Yes. Force feed you piroshki?
A lot of blinchiki, pancakes, a lot of pancakes and grandmother cookings, and yeah, all of it.
Yeah. Well, Boss Rutan had told me several times, he said, if you're going to fight as close to your natural weight as you can, you know, only go up and down maybe 1 to 2 weight classes, no more than 2, because you want to have that energy. So yeah, it makes sense, everything that you're saying right now.
Yeah, you do. You want to have energy, period.
Do you still go and watch fights, or at least, you know, watch them on YouTube or something, just to, you know, keep up with the sport itself, because it was a part of your life for so long?
I don't, unless it's my friend who's fighting, and I get so nervous. Like because I know how they feel, I know how much they want to win. So I watch only if a friend of mine or somebody who I know is fighting, or something huge. But rather than that, now I watch stand-up comedy. That's my life.
Okay, so who's your favorite stand-up then? Besides Ahmed, we can't, you know, I love Ahmed. Yeah. Ahmed's the nicest guy. Listen, I know you're touring with Ahmed right now. Like you went from Brea Improv to a pizzeria in Huntington Beach and whatever else. And I was sitting there, I was like, the pizzeria is 10 minutes from my house. I had to go all the way to Brea. Okay. No, it's okay. No, it was a fun show. But, you know, all that. So like, who was your inspiration, or who'd you learn from most as a stand-up comic?
Well,
when you watch the videos, I'm sorry.
Yeah, when I watch the videos, well, my biggest, talking about females, Sarah Silverman, love her writing. I love her stage presence. I love her timing. Anthony Jeselnik, genius, timing, his appearance right on point. From Soviet Union is Yakov Smirnov. he is the biggest inspiration for me just because he's from the same country. And actually, I met him in Naples while we were touring with Ahmed. It was so funny. I did my set and I was sitting watching Blake on stage, and Ahmed comes to me. He's like, "Hey, Anya, I want to introduce you to somebody." And I turn around and I see Yakov. And I just yelled. I'm like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Shh, everybody can hear you." I got so excited. So he was just in the area and he saw Ahmed's name on the club and he stopped by and Ahmed put him on stage. He had 5 minutes. And that was amazing. So yeah, I would say those three, my favorite ones. Yeah.
You know what? I remember when I was a little kid and I used to watch Yakov Smirnov and his act about the Soviet Union and defecting and everything else. And then I finally saw him live. I think maybe this was 6-7 years ago. And he had actually made reference. He said, "You know, the great thing about living in today is that my act from 1985 is relevant again."
It is.
Yeah. So when you meet somebody like Yakov who was a defector versus you that were allowed to leave, how does your story as an immigrant shape differently than his?
I guess I love America. I'm an American citizen now, but still, because I moved here, he also moved here when he was in his 20s. I still, like my brain, I still function as a Russian woman. It's weird. Yes, I adjusted. I feel more American than Russian now, but I still think as a Russian woman. And I guess for him, in his comedy, at least, he always brings up the light to America and only in America. America is great, only in America. Versus me, in my comedy, what I like to do, I like to show that those considered bad things about Russians, for me, are good things. Like I show that Russian men are tough, and I like it. That Russian men could be considered stalkers, but I like it. So it's like, I guess it's just different perspective.
What do you mean stalkers?
I mean, Russian men, they never take no for an answer. Like in Russian language, stalker does not exist. This word does not exist in Russian. So Russian men, they would follow you literally home. They will follow you to work. They will send you letters. They will send you gifts. They just don't take a no for an answer. They know no can be turned to maybe. And in America, if a guy does it, he considered being creepy, weird, and a stalker. So that's a big difference.
So what you're saying is you want to be stalked? No,
not by the creeps, but if the guy is a normal guy, but if he's persistent, I'll give him a credit.
Fair enough.
No, I don't want to creepy people in my life, but normal people who are persistent, I think it's a good thing.
Listen, don't stalk Anya. She's got a 72-inch reach. It's not going to be good for you at the end of it, all right?
True.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to go on stage and perform now. Who is, and you say you're more reserved, you're more quiet, you're more introverted in your personal life, but on stage, you're somebody else. What is the preparation to get the energy and the excitement up to go tell jokes versus after you come off stage and then decompress?
I think it's not a preparation. I'm still actually on stage. Very good question. On stage, I am more myself than in life. But in life, I don't allow myself, because we're all people. We have this little voice in our heads that we're afraid to express because we're afraid to be judged. We're afraid to offend somebody. We're afraid to come off in the wrong way. And only on stage, I allow this little voice came out through me and express itself. That's why it's so much fun to me. And then it's fun to the audience as well. And when I get off the stage, I'm like, okay, now I need to put boundaries and I need to tell this voice to shut up, because otherwise I'm going to come up as, I don't know, bitchy or tough, or my views might be not appropriate or not acceptable. So yeah, actually the stage is a place where I'm the most myself.
And more importantly, what was the very first joke that got you a laugh that you wrote?
Yeah, it was an open mic. My first time I went on stage, and the guy who went up and before me, he was Ukrainian. And I just got lucky. And I said, it was a time when Trump was the president. He was just elected. And said, well, you guys, I always wanted to be president, but I didn't know how. So I decided to follow steps of your guys' president and became a comedian first. And that got a laugh. And then I'm like, well, if you don't know, basically, if you think you elected the first clown as a president, you're wrong, because Ukraine is actually elected the real comic. So their Ukrainian president, he's a legitimate comedian who's been doing comedy for over 20 years. So, and then it got another laugh too. So that was, I guess, my first kind of a joke.
Let's be honest, all political leaders are clowns.
Yep.
Just with more money and better access to weapons.
Exactly.
Poor Yakov, he should have gone into politics. He could have made jokes while no, I don't want to say not that. I'll say it afterwards. Okay. As things progress for you, you're a rising star at this point. You get to perform at the Improv, not only in Brea but in Hollywood, and then the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory and all these other legendary places where so many famous people before you have come. What does that draw for you? Because I know, like in kickboxing and then in comedy, you both get the instant gratification. You knock somebody out, boom, you got the cheers or you got the boos, depending if they were the favorite. With comedy, you get the laughs. If it didn't hit, okay, I'll revamp that joke because there's something there, but it didn't get the laughs that I wanted. When you go into acting for film or for television, now you have to wait for that response. Is that harder for you as a performer in that regard?
Very hard. It's like you constantly have to deal with rejections a lot, where in kickboxing, if you're good, you're good. You don't feel judged, because if you knock somebody up, you're the winner. There's no question about it. And what is hard for me in acting, because if I don't book the job, I don't get the feedback. And for me, feedback is very important. So even if they would write actors 2 sentences, hey, you didn't book the job because of that and that, or we just found somebody who fits better their look, but we like this, but you need to work on that one. So I feel like for actors, it's for us very important, and for me specifically, to get the feedback, because we need to know what to improve, what to work on. But yeah, as an actor, we never know. And sometimes it happened to me. I thought I submitted a great audition and I never heard back. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I sent a crappy audition that I didn't even focus on, and I booked it. I'm like, why? What is the truth? How does it work? How the universe works? So it's a lot of unknown stuff in acting industry.
Have you done any translation for Russian films to English or Russian animation to English?
No, not yet.
So yet.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
With everything that you're doing on top of this, and you're joke writing constantly, what's your process to sit down and get started in writing? Is it a thought that comes to you, I have to write it down, or a shared experience? You're at a cafe, you're at a diner, you're somewhere, something funny happens, like, okay, we can expand off this and write that down. How does the material come to you? Just from all different directions? It's
from, like you said, different. Sometimes it could be I like when people ask me questions the way you do, because then I'm like, oh, this is actually funny. I like this direction. Sometimes I push myself to sit down and write, but usually nothing good comes out of it, because it's very pushy energy. Usually I have an idea, and for me the best, I know some people are writers, and I'm more like doers. If I have an idea, I have to get on stage and just try it out. And usually while I'm saying it on stage, other things comes to me. Or sometimes a comic comes to me after the show. I'm like, hey, why don't you try this punchline instead? And sometimes it works. So for me, I have to try it right away. If I put it on a table and I never touch it, I never know if it's going to work or not. But if I perform it, I know if it's going to be a hit or not.
Yeah. And what comic would you like to see live that you haven't seen yet? That's still alive, of course, because everybody says Carlin and Pryor, and of course we want to see Carlin and Pryor, but
Well, the first thing came up to me. I want to see Louis C.K. Yeah.
We lost Louis too.
No, he's gonna do.
Oh no, not Louis C.K. I'm sorry, Louis Anderson is the one that we lost. Louis C.K. lost his career.
He's canceled, but he's doing some shows.
Yeah, just don't stand in shooting distance. Sorry, Louis. I don't know you, but somebody had to say it at some point.
I think you should get on stage.
Me? Nah. I'll come watch you perform again next time you're in Orange County, or next time I'm in LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a deal.
I know Ahmed does a show at Sea Legs during the spring and summertime, so hopefully we'll see you perform there.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, that's a great spot.
Yeah. Well, you're on the beach. Of course it's a great spot. How terrible is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
perfect.
They're not making you perform in the snow in Siberia.
I would not survive there. To make Russians laugh, it's the hardest job ever. People say black people are very difficult to make them laugh. I'm not being racist. It's just what the comic says. But Russian people, if you make Russian people laugh, you're amazing.
Then I did something right, because I made you laugh.
True. That's why I'm saying you need to get on stage.
I'm okay with that. I'll watch from the wings. I'll feed you lines. We'll be like Cyrano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal.
Okay. So if Russian people are the hardest people to make laugh, what's one joke that will definitely make Russians laugh?
Oh, it has to be something about Americans and how stupid Americans are. Something about that line.
Still, that rivalry is never going to die, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, 1917, America showed up in World War I. Russia said, "Oh, you're here," and left. And then ever since, the problems have been there. So
yeah, I don't think it's going to ever stop. Yeah.
You know what? America and France have the same problem. And the thing is that if it wasn't for the French, we wouldn't have a country right now. So it's a sibling rivalry. It has nothing really to do with personality clashes.
Very good point. Very good point.
I think the people are so much alike that's why they don't get along with each other, because they see in the other one what they don't like in themselves.
That's the same in the relationships and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a pet person on top of all of this too? Like, do you have like 3 cats that you tell your jokes to? Like, what's the deal?
I would love to. I love cats. I used to have 5, 6 cats in Russia growing up. Would love to get them here, but I travel so much, and I feel like it's very responsible for me to get a cat or a dog and leave it with somebody all the time. So once I'll get a pet, okay? So I'll get the husband, watch the pet.
You want the husband, then the pet?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that order.
In that order? Russian husband or an American husband, so you can push him around?
Oh my gosh, Russian man too tough. No, never say never, but for now I say no to Russians.
Belarusian then.
When I say Russians, I am assuming all Eastern Europeans.
All Soviet Union. All former Eastern Bloc. I get it. You're like from Croatia over. That's it. No.
Yeah, well, Croatians are very nice people. I'll take the Croatian husband. Yeah, but everybody who speaks Russian or anything close to Russian, no. I'll be your friend, but nothing.
You'll go for pierogi and that's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have a good pierogi place not too far from here in Costa Mesa. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's hidden away. They've been there 5 years. I've never seen anybody go in. So, I don't know.
That's so bad.
I don't know.
Maybe they do some undercover business there. Who knows?
I'm not going to say nothing because I'm not that far from them. You can say it all you want because you're on the other side of the state. So.
And now I'm super curious to check it out.
Yeah. Do you still train in any martial arts, whether it's Taekwondo or kickboxing, just, to keep the physicality up?
I do cardio. I love cardio. I love resistance workout. I do sometimes we have professional boxers in town and they want to spar. I'm not a good sparring partner right now, but I'll go I'll do more teaching, I guess, technique, because I still have the technique, but since I haven't been doing it for a while, I lost the speed and the strength. It's like riding a bike. Of course, you know how to ride a bike if you learned once, but yeah, you lose the speed, but you keep the technique. So no, I just, if you do it, you have to do it all the time. If you do it once a month, you're going to get sore all the time. You're going to pull the muscle. So it's either you do it or you don't. So I decided no.
So did you like kicking or punching more?
Kicking. Yeah, that's my thing.
Roundhouse kick, head kicks. What's the deal?
Head kicks. Yeah.
See, we figured you out. Yeah, it wasn't that hard to figure out.
You see, it's not that difficult. People say Russians are difficult. We're not. We're very open people.
I'm originally from San Francisco. I grew up with a bunch of you. I know what you guys are like.
Yeah. Yeah, you seem very comfortable with us.
You just got to make sure if you're standing with the Reds, you don't talk to the Whites and vice versa. So. Yeah.
Honestly, I've never heard of it, the Reds and Whites. I learned it from you today. I know there's some different churches, and in Miami we have also Russian Baptists and different types, but I never seen people being that divided,
Yeah, no, they held on to that rivalry for almost 100 years, and it's the Orthodox Church. It's not like one was Protestant, one was Orthodox, the other one was Catholic. They were both Orthodox, but they divided on political lines, of either being Tsarist or having been Bolshevik. And then the ones that they're like the ones that were Bolshevik were looked at the Tsarists and said, "We suffered under the communists. We're the oppressed church. You left with the Tsar when everything, when he was assassinated." And the other one said, "Well, you were too stupid to leave." And they were arguing with each other about this. I said, "Listen, this is not my problem. This is you guys. I'll stand over here. You know, I'll have a cup of coffee in the background. Go ahead, argue with each other.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been so long ago. Like, why is it still? Yeah.
People will not let go of things.
Yeah. It's hard to let go for some people. True.
You know what? Okay, so since we talked about red and the white, what is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
My favorite holiday. Well, I love for Russians, New Year's Eve is like for Americans, Christmas. I love New Year's Eve. For us, it's a time when we prepare, we give gifts to each other. We prepare like a month ahead. We have huge fireworks. It's a very family celebration, like gathering. We have friends and family. We make wish when it's midnight. Yeah, New Year's Eve. It's probably my favorite one.
Is that where you find all the Russian gold diggers, looking for husbands too, or?
Oh well, Russian
If you're
gold
breaking
diggers.
stereotypes,
They
so-
always look for gold diggers. Well, there exist Russian gold diggers. Unfortunately, this stereotype is 80% true. So, I have to agree on that.
We just blame it on the ones from Ukraine and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's like the ones with the yellow and the blue flag. It's really them. You know, they just get lumped over here.
It's just more okay. If to be honest, I feel like Ukrainian women are the most beautiful out of all the Eastern Europeans, so they deserve to be gold diggers.
They earn the right to be gold diggers.
They do.
Okay, I like that. They earn the right to be gold diggers because they're the most beautiful. You know? Well, Joe Rogan said, who was it? He was talking about Margot Robbie, the Australian actress. He said Margot Robbie is a 10 in the United States, and then she's a 6 in Russia. So,
But yeah, a Russian, like when I go to Russia, I never feel attractive. I'm like below average looking, you know. It's a very humbling experience to go to Russia. That's why I don't go there.
fair enough.
If I have to, I'll go.
When was the last time you went to see your family?
That was 4 or 5 years ago. Well, my family is here now.
Oh,
So yeah, when I was living there 4 or 5 years ago, I was here. I'm planning to make a trip maybe this summer to see my friends.
Oh, nice. So your parents are here then?
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. Are they in LA? Are they Miami? Or?
Miami.
Okay. So they come to Miami and you go to Los Angeles.
Exactly.
You want to keep that 3,500 miles away. Listen, the ocean wasn't enough. Now we have to put an entire country in between us.
Yeah, but at least it's the same country, you know.
Right. You know, like when you were in St. Petersburg and they were in Siberia. I know how it goes. Same country, yeah.
You really know me.
Two of the biggest countries, huh?
Yep.
Oh, I really know you. Is that what it is? Your dad's going to see this and go, where does he know you from?
Exactly. Who is this guy? It's so funny. Once I started doing shows with Ahmed and Blake, my mom followed I did the podcast with Ahmed and Blake, and the same, like we just finished the podcast and Blake is like, Anya, I think your mom just followed me on Instagram. I'm like, wow, that was very quick because we just went live 5 minutes ago.
Wow. So your mom's really paying attention.
Oh, she is, yeah. Especially when it comes to guys, you know, she's curious.
Well, wait till she follows Joey, the one in the wheelchair.
She probably already does.
Joey's really funny, by the way.
Oh, he is hysterical. This guy has a brilliant brain. Brilliant. He's gonna go far. He's gonna go far.
Okay, who's dirtier with their jokes, Joey or Blake?
Blake is not that dirty. He has some dirty bits, but not too extreme. I think Joey, he can get away with more stuff than Blake does.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think Joey, because he can get away with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after everything's going on, what's the next step? You know, Comedy Central special, Netflix special. Like, is that the next goals?
I would love to have a Netflix special. Yes, I'm working on my material right now. I would love to have my own show. I write a bunch. I have so many ideas. Besides having a special, I would love to produce my own comedy shows. So explore the business side of the comedy as well. To use my business brain a little bit. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, you're gonna open up a borscht restaurant right next to a comedy club, and Russian
no
food.
Restaurants. No. I'll stay in the entertainment industry. I'll produce, I act, I do stand up. By the way, I'm working on a show. Can I do a little bit of advertisement?
Of course.
So yeah, because my mom is Ukrainian, my father is Russian. I consider myself Russian because I grew up there in Russia. But since now there's a huge conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I'm producing a show from Russia with Love, where all the comics are Russian or Ukrainian background. We do comedy sets in English, and all the money, all the ticket sales go to Ukraine to help families who suffers from Putin's actions. So it's going to be end of March. As soon as we have the dates, I'm going to post on Instagram. So, yeah.
And does it end with a fist fight between the Russians and Ukrainians?
No, my idea is to bring peace, to show that we love each other. Just the idea of one person make other people suffer, millions and millions of people.
No, I'm teasing you,
Yeah.
especially because you could have that war in your own parents' house at that point.
I could easily.
So your mother's Ukrainian or Russian-Ukrainian?
Ukrainian. Her parents are from Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah, I found out, about 10 years ago that you have to make that distinction. Are you Russian-Ukrainian or Ukrainian?
Well, yeah. It now it's more complicated. When it was used to start, it was just very simple. Now it's getting complicated.
Do you speak Ukrainian too, or no?
Well, I used to when I was a little one because of my grandmother. I would spend my summer with her. Now I just understand. I can say a few words back, but it's not fluent at all. But I understand it. I understand everything.
Okay. Since you have a law background and you want to go into the entertainment side of things, the business side, are you thinking of getting, taking some courses for entertainment law and getting your license here to practice just so you can make sure your own contracts are on the up and up?
That's a good question. Yeah. For some reason, I don't like contracts. I know I'm a lawyer in Russia, but just it's so boring and it's a lot. No, I don't want to be a lawyer here. It's not my field. I would rather just hire a very good lawyer. But yes, I would love to just read about it and get some kind of expertise. Because Russians, we don't trust people easily, even if it's a top expert. We need to know at least, and we need to have some kind of knowledge on the field. So yeah, for sure, I will do my research.
Talking about Russians not trusting people. If I see you coming down the street in Anita's jumpsuit, I'm crossing the street. I was like, I know that Russian. She's wearing an Adidas tracksuit. I gotta go.
Yeah, run.
I was like, either she's mafia or she's getting ready for a fight. It's one or the other.
Yep, bad intentions. You see, the stereotypes. That's all stereotypes.
Do you have any siblings by any chance? Or?
No, it's just me.
Oh, you're the only child.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why your father put you in kickboxing. He's like, she doesn't have a brother to protect her. She's got to do it herself.
Yeah, he was always supportive of it, but I think I'm the one who asked for it. That I wanted to be in the kickboxing gym, boxing gym. But yeah, of course, he wanted a boy. He wanted a son. So of course, it was always encouraged in my family.
What was the biggest culture shock for you coming to America with a Russian mentality?
The biggest cultural shock, that people smile to you for no reason. They just see you on the street and they smile. Like, do I have something on my shirt? Do I look funny? I didn't brush my hair. So that for me was just people smile. Like in Russia, nobody smiles at you on the streets. It's if you smile at somebody, it's like, oh, this person, something wrong with him. Why he's smiling? It's yeah.
So it's like Germany then.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody smiles over there either.
No, life is very serious. It's tough.
That's because it's cold.
It's cold, and
if I lived in Miami, I'd be smiling all the time too.
Yeah, life is you see sun shining and you're happy. In Russia, even if the sun is shining, it's like also not cool. In Russia, it's not encouraged to be funny. Like, it's encouraged to be tough and serious. And literally, I remember I didn't see my best friend from childhood for like 5 years, and we met in Europe. She's like, you changed. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you became nice. She's like, what happened to you? She's like, you used to just open any door with your kick. Like literally, like we would walk into the restaurant. I would be so bitchy to everybody. I'm like, well, I guess in America, you have to adjust. You have to be nice to people if you want to be treated nicely too.
So is that a good surprise or a bad surprise?
For her, it was a bad surprise. She's like, you became soft and nice. She's like, who are you? I don't know you anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So she's the mean one now.
She is. I mean, she's a sweetheart, but in public, she has to put this right face on and to be respectful. If you want to go somewhere in Russia, if you want to succeed in your career, you need to be cold.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, here usually it's just the short people that are like that.
That's so bad.
It's true. Yeah. The shorter they are, the meaner they are. Now all the short people are going to get mad at me.
Yeah, you see.
I'm under 5'5", and he said that. Like, okay, prove my point.
Yeah.
No, we Ahmed can back me up on this. So my family's from the Middle East, And people are like, so what can you say about Middle Eastern women? I said, listen, the shorter they are or the heavier they are, the meaner they are. And if they're short and heavy, run for your life because she's not going to be nice to you.
I'm going to ask Ahmed next time I see you.
Ahmed will back me up because Ahmed's Egyptian. He'll
Yeah.
tell. I love Ahmed.
He'll know. Yeah, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
I'm just honestly, it surprises me because he does. How many openers he had before him? Like 6 comics.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to. Like usually, guys, they put one host and one guy featuring for him. That's all. But he just gives everybody opportunity. It's incredible.
That's what I love about Ahmed because he loves bringing people along for the ride.
Yep,
you
he's a
know?
team player.
Yeah. You know, I think the first time I met him, he was on a show called Sullivan and Sons. And so we had done an interview then. We've still been trying to schedule a more recent one, especially with spring coming back. We're going to talk about the sea legs thing. I got to give him a call soon. But his shows are always incredible. He's always good to everybody. So I love to see that, he's willing to work with younger comics too.
Yeah, it's incredible. You should interview him again. He would love that too.
Oh yeah, every time I see him, and we got to schedule it. Yeah, and then something happens, and things fall apart. But no, Sea Legs is coming back. I think March or April or something like that.
Yeah,
and then
once it gets warmer, yeah, he wants to do it.
Yeah, see, and now you get to wear casual clothing instead of 40 pounds of layering here. So
exactly, yeah.
How long have you been a U.S. citizen?
I became citizen. I've been in the States for 10 years, and I became citizen 5 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did you go gun shopping after you got your flag and your certificate?
I cannot, because I'm very emotional. Like I get when something is not fair, when I see something not fair, it's even related to me, but if somebody abuse somebody, I see it on the streets, I just get too triggered by that. So I got too many guns in my house or on me. I can react, and I don't want this, So yeah.
Got it. So plastic knives in the house too.
Yep. Plastic knives, yeah. Plastic cups.
Anya, when are your next couple of shows coming up?
Well, I have 3 shows this week. I have Flappers tonight. I have a show in North Hollywood tomorrow, Impulse Comedy. And on Friday night, it's a show in West Hollywood. All the flyers on my Instagram. So if you want to come by, please come by, say hi. Yeah, that should be fun.
And what's your Instagram?
It's Anya_Zova.
ANYA_ZOVA.
VA. Correct.
Perfect. Anya, is there anywhere else other than Instagram we can find you if we want to connect with you?
Instagram is the best way. I don't use Twitter. I don't use Facebook. So
you don't want to argue politics with everybody on Twitter?
No. Keep me out of it, please.
Anya Zova, stick around for a couple of minutes. We'll crack a couple of more jokes off the record. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Anya Zova is performing in Los Angeles now. Welcome to Southern California. Enjoy the sun without as much humidity in comparison to Miami. So
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And you're a wonderful host.